Hi, well, this is my first place Omaha regional deck profile. I ended up going 7-1, lost in the last round, so I was undefeated up until that point. I ended up getting first in standings, along with, I think, we got the standings right here, 3 other undefeateds. So, good stuff there. I'll just roll straight into the main deck here for you. The deck is branded Despia tier, by the way, in case you didn't know. I'll start with that. So, 2 Fallen of Albaz. I figured this is an okay ratio. It's fine. You'll be shuffling this stuff back with tiers anyway. My boy. The Despia cards, 2 Aluber, 3 Tragedy. I think Tragedy is low-key the best Despia card, but at the same time, I kind of lusted for a 3rd Aluber while I was playing. So maybe like in further testing, I might do like 3 Aluber and 3 Tragedy, or 3 Aluber and 2 Tragedy. But this card's insane. Even if you mill multiple, I found myself milling 2, even 3 sometimes with the tier combos. It's still fun because you can grind long enough that you'll be banishing these from your graveyard. I actually had a few dilemmas where I'm like, do I want to use this now to search a Luber, or do I want to just banish this to set back a branded Spell Trap that I put face down? Or no, yeah, set a branded Spell Trap that was in my graveyard. That's as far as that goes there. Albion, you'll see why this is used here in a little bit. That's for branded and high spirits. Consistent. I'd side him out some of the time, but not always. The main tier stuff, this goes without saying. These cards are insane. This card's nuts. I sometimes side out 1 Merrily, but none of the other ones. Along with 2 Rhino Heart. I thought 2 was fine. I had no complaints with this card. I was thinking about maybe going down to 1, actually. But there's the scenarios where if you are grinding, it comes up, especially in mirror matches or against Sprite, the 2 main decks of the format. Well, you banish one of the Rhinos and you're still going to need another one. So, that's all done there. Wouldn't appear. I mean, apart from being good against the tier matchup, and actually not too bad against Sprite players who don't summon on their 5th summon, or like don't go gigantic on their 5th summon. It's still 1 light target, so you can go into Albion with it. That's why that's there. It did come up a few times. Spell cards, which I think that was 20 monsters, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 19. That's half the deck. It's half the deck. Branded spells. Here's the gas, yep. So we have 3 fusion, amazing, goes without saying. 2 opening, I did kind of think, there were 1 or 2 scenarios where I was like, hey, maybe let's go 3 while I was testing. I figured doing 2 of that and 2 Aluber was fun. I think in the future, I will maybe do 2 opening and 3 Aluber. I don't want to lose that hard to spell cancel. Eradicator's okay, whatever. Brandon and High Spirits, I think that's the main attraction. You'll see the combo here later, I'll set that aside. But I would often, start game 1 or 3, of course, and then you would side out maybe 1 or 2 or even 3 along with the Albion if you needed to, depending on your matchup, how many side cards you needed to put. But this one, it turns any of your Tearlaments monsters in hand or a Tragedy or Luber in hand if need be into advantage. You can grab like pretty much a 2-card fusion. And just keep going from there. The Tearlaments stuff, I guess 3 planets. Oh, actually, I forgot this one, Branded and Red. I wanted 2 of these. I wanted to play 2. That's all I really say about it. There's chances I milled it and I wanted the second one. It's too slow to set with Tragedy, ironically. Quick play spell.
What would you take out for the second one?
That's a good question. I won't waste too much of your time. If I was really pushed, I'd probably take out a Merrily. I thought the tier limit ratios were just fine. 3 planet, this card's amazing. Goes without saying. Instant fusion, good starter. These are some of the good one-offs. Call by the Grave, good. Terraforming, good. I'd side this out going into game 3 usually. Sometimes when I was going second, didn't feel like it was going to be as good. Never sided these 2 out. Galaxy Cyclone, that's for Mystic Mind matchups, which I think I only played against 1 today. I didn't actually receive mine, so not as helpful. But it did come in clutch in a few of the matchups against like Sprite and Tier, for example. I played against a branded Despia Eldritch player, that worked out too. But great, you'd be surprised how many people still set cards in this metagame from like Imperm, Droplet, and Soul Leak, I guess. They get that search, but that's still not that bad. And you get that great. That's done. More breakers. Lots of kisses. Thanks, Rich. This stuff's good. I was perfectly fine with these ratios. 3 Dark Rulers, never really felt the need for it. I guess if I could fit more in, the deck is 42 cards, by the way. I would, but Cool. So, like I said, I believe that's 20 monsters and 21 spells, if I'm not mistaken, and that's the 42nd card. So, I thought this was okay. I'd only side it out, if I absolutely needed to. I never actually set it or used the effect on field. I did have the opportunity to do it once, but I thought my board was solid enough. I ended up getting the Tear Search instead and using it to make a Kaleido Heart, I believe. That's done there. That's main deck. Let's roll an extra deck. 2 Albion. That's the mill for Mirror Jade, or that's to banish or summon off a branded fusion. I did do that a couple times, but 2 is fine. There's no need to run more than that. Let's go Destiny Quiritis. This one did come up once or twice. It's okay. I will consider cutting it in the future. The float effect's not bad. The make them lose attack effect is not bad. It's all right. Just another target. The more ones I was more invested in were double Masquerade. And there was a few times where I did go double Masquerade. Usually I went into one, it would get banished or something like that, and I go into the second one. Quite oppressive. It did help me once or twice in time. I'm not going to mince words with that. It's a really good card. The recursion is surprisingly great too. Yeah. We got the one Garua, super poly target. I guess that's also technically a super poly target, but we're going to be going into that with Tearlaments monsters. I did make this once today. It didn't come up. I couldn't attack with it. He was scared of it. So, 2 Draco Stapelia. This one is good. I actually side deck an extra deck monster. I sided out one of these ones. But yeah, 2 Draco Stapelia. I think you need those. There were a couple of times actually when I was thinking, I was like, okay, maybe I would play a Mud Dragon. I don't play Mud Dragon. Or like a Starving Venom. Give it a bit more variety. But I'm happy with my choices. I'm glad that I ended up going 2 Draco Stapelia. It did come up more than once. That worked out in those 8 rounds. I think I only lost one game 1 by the way of this deck. It's extremely solid going into the main deck. I lost 4 die rolls. I won 4 die rolls. So that's for Brandon in red specifically. It's good. It ends games. I'd only play one. Of course, your other branded targets. Mirror Jade and Nibelion. The only times I wanted to summon a second Mirror Jade are when I already had a face-up Mirror Jade on the board. You can only control one, so I don't really feel the need to do that. Everything recurs itself in this deck, just shuffles itself back. It's so cyclical, it's so resilient, I love it. But Mirror Jade is still solid. And I actually play this deck because I enjoy the branded Despia part of it just as much as the Tearlaments part. And I wanted to play branded Despia today. I'm so glad I didn't, as you can see. Nothing to brag about there. First place. Your Tearlaments cards. There was once or twice where I was into maybe getting a second Kit Kalos, like for the extra deck. I have one. I chose to not play it, but this ended up being okay. Again, a lot of this stuff you can just shuffle back to make Draco Stapelia and then just keep on going. It's crazy the amount of resources you can outlast with. I never thought I'd ever outlast a Sprite player in resources, but somehow I managed. Good stuff. Good stuff. These are your branded and high spirits targets. And if you didn't know the combo, I'm pretty sure you know the combo by now. Wherever the branded and high spirits went. But sure, say that you have maybe like a Maryland that doesn't do much in your hand, like a tragedy that doesn't do much in your hand. You play branded and high spirits. It's all one effect, I believe. It just all resolves at once. You reveal the D3S frog, pitch this from hand. Add Albion, this goes, gets sent from extra deck to grave. Now you have a Kit Kalos. You end up doing the same thing with Construct. It's not as great, but it is a fairy. It's level 8, it's 2500 defense, so it fulfills the requirements for branded and high spirits. If you have a tragedy that you just need to unclunk your hand. Didn't happen often, but it actually just happened once that I used high spirits to send tragedy. But it ended up being okay. I think if I would cut a card out of the extra deck, maybe for more room, maybe for like a second Kit Kalos or a Mud Dragon or Starving Venom, it would be Construct. But again, it did come up once today. It was alright. And by the way, the Albion is really good. You can dump another high spirits, and it has a recursion effect. You can only use either the dump effect or the recursion effect once per turn. But it's really good. Put it on the bottom, draw a card after dumping a branded spell or trap. You can have a fusion to set with tragedy if it isn't the first turn. Or you can dump opening. Now you have protection. That's really good. Or just another high spirits. Thin out your deck. A lot of deck thinning in this deck, surprisingly, with all the deck shuffling. He's a champ. I like him. Big old wolf. Token. I actually needed this a lot today. Nobody had tokens. Extra deck. Or, pardon me, side deck. Let's go. Necroll Banshee. You can guess what that's for. 1 Nibiru. I had an extra slot. I thought this would be, a little bit better against the tier matchup, and then maybe some more of the rogue matchups. Yes, it did come up. It was good. Good stuff there. Blowout cards. These were glued to my hand. It was great. Games 2 or 3. There were a lot of times I'd see Evilly in a Dark Ruler or Lightning Storm in a Dark Ruler going second. One of my opponents, Clever, he was a Tearlaments player. He played Pure. He made me go first, and I was stuck with a Lightning Storm. But ended up working out for him. I was like, holy smokes, you're not going first? All right. But I think he had an evenly enhanced. Anyway, these cards, insane. Like I said, if you have Dark Ruler or like Super Qual, any number of that stuff. The amount of consistency, you only need 1 or 2 cards usually to get going. Yeah, powerful. Not much else I could say about that. I was debating like maybe different board breakers. I ended up just maybe Cosmic Cyclones instead of Lightning Storms. Glad I didn't. It was great. There's 1 Zombie World for Necro World Banshee. For going first, and actually going second, I decided in one of these too. But 3G barrier, 2 Misters of the Gnomes. Something I wanted to try that I didn't end up doing. I know it doesn't. You don't care because I didn't get first with it. Was to play maybe Trap Trick with like 2 barrier and 2 Misters of the Gnomes. Maybe like some Eradicators because you could summon this Albion and then Eradicator them with it or deck heavy them with it. But it ended up working out just fine. I mean, there were more games that I ended up going second, and I was glad I didn't have that. But Gnomes was good. It worked out once. I wish I just didn't I forgot it once or twice in Grave. They used blue to add Chet, and I'm like, oh well, shoot, let's make that level 1. It ended up working out, so I won a game because of that. Barry, I think that goes without saying, going first, insane. My last side deck card. I just really love the Wild West. I think big Clint Eastwood fan, and that's why I sided deck Cowboy. Going into game 3, he did win me some games going into game 3, and it's just because I'm a really big fan of the Wild West and no other reason. There were some games that I would side in Banshee and not Zombie World because I really just liked Cowboy that much in time and wanted to make him, and I like the Wild West. That's why we have Cowboy in there. I would usually side out the Construct. The one game I sided out of Draco Stapelia because I didn't feel like I needed it going first if I needed to do that. But you have level 4s for the Cowboy. You have Siren, you have a Luber. Cards like Branded Opening lock you into fusions, so you can't do that. But I did make Cowboy once or twice today, so ended up being okay. 4 of my matches went to time, 4 of them did not. And any questions?
Shoutouts?
All of the Omaha crew, the Dragon's Lair peeps, should come to our Tuesday locals. I judge our locals usually, they're a friend of mine. But represent Omaha. So I'm glad to get first in my hometown. This is great. This is my first win. Just friends and family who helped me test. I didn't end up borrowing any cards, so like I said, I don't have any shout-outs for that. But I appreciate you asking for a shout-out. Omaha crew, I love you guys. Anything else? Questions?
That was hot.